with a giant claw powerful enough to...
5 seconds into the video, and oh boy, it does not look promising. Well, here we are, having another video today. Today we're going to talk about a Spinosaurus, but not just any other Spino. This Spino right here, oh my god. Where do I begin? Holy crud. This Spinosaur body has been debunked over a decade ago. I know Monster Resurrected is made from 2009, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But apparently, it's not enough for those Monsters Resurrected creators, animators, designers, whatever. They had to go the extra mile and put so many spikes on the Spino. Okay, so the design of the Spino is not up to par, okay? If it's just a design issue, it's not too bad. However, Monsters Resurrected... catering to the Spino fans as usual, the most toxic dinosaur fan base out of all dinosaur fan bases. Of course, not all the Spino fans are toxic, but the majority of them are fine. But I do not like the toxic part of it. They made the Spinosaurus a kaiju. Yes, a kaiju. Okay, so all I gotta ask is sit back, relax, and watch this train wreck of a documentary.
Now we unravel its deadly secrets as we resurrect a monster.
This is just the beginning. It's only going to get worse from here.
Africa, 95 million years ago. Another day in the dino killing fields. Paralititans are gigantic, lumbering plant eaters. Their size keeps the adults safe. But their babies are a softer target. Rugops, a 30-foot-long killing machine.
Wait, hold on. What did they say?
Rugops, a 30-foot-long killing machine.
Rugops, a 30-foot-long killing machine. Okay, I'm not really going to talk about the design issues, for example, those arms. I'm no paleontology expert, but I could still say that Rugops did not have those fully developed arms. The size, however, 30 feet? What? Even older estimates said that the Rugops was around 6 meters or 20 feet. But 30 feet? Oh my god. I can't comprehend. Okay, so I looked up at Wikipedia, and Gregory S. Paul gave the estimation of 6 meters in 2010, and Monsters Resurrected is made in 2009. Okay, so that's that, but come on, 30 feet? That is just the dumbest estimate that I've ever seen. It's not outdated, it's just wrong. Anyways, continue.
Is on the hunt. Rugops' speed wins the day. But it's not over. In this land of giant killers, there was always a bigger beast.
Wait. Did the 30-foot Rugops get picked up like it was nothing? Rugops, where'd you go? Come back!
Enter Spinosaurus.
Okay, how did a Spinosaur fit a 30-foot predator in its mouth? God, the Rugops is 30 feet. The Spino... I'm at a loss for words already. This is so dumb. I'm still trying to process what's going on, but I probably can't, because this is just incomprehensibly dumb.
although Tyrannosaurus rex and Allosaurus are considered dinosaur superstars. Spinosaurus deserves celebrity status too.
Spinosaurus is a truly amazing dinosaur. It's big, it's really specialized, really well adapted to a different way of life than any other giant creature, and it's just plain weird looking. It certainly is one of the great stars in the history of dinosaurs.
Spinosaurus has earned its Hollywood star. It's big and bizarre with a seriously bad attitude.
How do you know?
If I heard that there was a living Spinosaurus today, I would be there in a flesh. I would love to see what this creature actually was like, moving around, looking for food, just even standing there. To see such a creature unlike anything around today, would just be phenomenal.
Almost directly copied the Spinosaurus.
Resurrected, it would be a walking nightmare. And its horror credentials really go off the chart when you realize that it is also a 60-foot-long hyper-carnivore.
It was a giant. It was the biggest of the meat-eating dinosaurs we know about. It had a long skull with big crocodile-like teeth. It had massive arms with huge claws. And it had these really weird, elongate spines coming out of its back to form a sail or a fin. Things that make it distinctive compared to all the other giant dinosaurs.
How could this amazing creature be such an unknown quantity? The answer is simple. The fossil evidence that could confirm its star status was obliterated. There is no complete skeleton, just a few fragments of fossils.
Could someone tell me what is a hypercarnivore? And also, the 60-foot estimate, aka 18 meters, is kinda wrong. Even at the time of this documentary, the Spinosaurus was given a more conservative estimate of 50 feet or 15 meters. Dalsasso's estimate is inaccurate. Anyways, moving on.
The fossil evidence that could confirm its star status was obliterated. There is no complete skeleton, just a few fragments of fossils. In order to resurrect Spinosaurus, we must go beyond the
Look at those teeth. How are they shaped? How would those teeth pierce through flesh?
Oh my god, so violent, Jesus Christ.
Look at those jaws. How do those arms operate? How deeply could those claws penetrate? What we do know about Spinosaurus is that it was weird and it was big.
The story of Spinosaurus begins here, in the Sahara Desert in Egypt. Between 1909 and 1914, German paleontologist Ernst Strummer unearthed the first and only fossil bones of Spinosaurus. Strummer brought the fossils back to the Bavarian Museum of Natural History in Munich, and the world got its first indication of just what this unusual animal looked like.
Yes, slapping in a sail on a different Spinosaurid skeleton and then call it a Spinosaurus. Well, enlarge it. I forgot that. Enlarge it. Okay. Enlarge it and then call it a Spino.
This is a photograph of the actual type specimen of Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, which was mounted on the wall in the museum in Munich.
This is what puts the spine in Spinosaurus.
You can see the dorsal vertebra here with these amazing dorsal spines sticking up. This one here is 1.65 meters, so 5.5, almost 6 feet. This is this long crocodilian-like jaw here. Really an amazing skeleton, and this is the one and only Spinosaurus skeleton that has ever existed.
But the skeleton didn't last long. Human history collided with prehistory. During World War II, Allied bombers conducted long-range bombing missions over key installations across Germany.
Sadly, the Bavarian Museum was across the street from the Nazi Party headquarters. when on April 27th in 1944, the Allied forces bombed Munich and collateral damage destroyed the museum.
The Spinosaurus skeleton was smashed to dust. What had survived for 95 million years was vaporized in the fog of war.
Since there are only a few bits and pieces known from the original Spinosaurus, it's pretty difficult to put it together. What we need is a link. What we need is something to tie those pieces together.
The few photographs of this amazing discovery have inspired our team. They provide a foundation that allows us to resurrect a monster.
Okay, I'm not going to roast this one because this is literally called Monsters Resurrected.
But these photos raise questions about how this predator hunted and killed. Why were its jaw and teeth so different from those of other carnivores?
Unlike a typical meat-eating dinosaur, it's got this long, very crocodile-like snout.
I am not that sure, to be honest.
95 million years. The Earth that Spinosaurus inhabited would be unrecognizable to us.
Well, the continent shapes are pretty similar, I guess. So, I don't think it's completely unrecognizable.
What is today the Sahara Desert was a vast network of tidal and mangrove swamps. The hot climate allowed for a multitude of plants and animals to flourish. There was plenty of prey for Spino, but also plenty of competition.
If you're saying that there's a plenty of competition, then why on earth did you show a clip of a Spinosaur fitting a whole 30-foot Rugops in its mouth?
Spinosaurus certainly was a big apex predator, but it wasn't alone. When we go and look at the environment that Spinosaurus lived, we see a couple of really large predatory dinosaurs. We even have indications there might even be more.
Spinosaurus lived in an environment with extremely large plant-eating dinosaurs that may have been a major food source.
Did the Spinosaurus hunt full-grown paralitite? This is so dumb. It's ridiculous.
But it was competing for this food source against some pretty tough customers.
One of Spino's main rivals was a giant predator with a mouthful of a name, Carcharodontosaurus, and it had a mouthful of fearsome shark-like teeth.
That's one thing they got correct at least. Spinosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus did coexist, but realistically speaking, I don't think a Spino and a Carchar would fight each other, because the Spinosaurus would use its conical teeth to hunt fish and live a semi-aquatic lifestyle, while the Carcharodontosaurus hunted larger sauropods and other herbivores.
It's essentially a giant land shark, a terribly fierce creature. It has a huge jaw.
And lurking just offshore, giant crocodiles as big as a bus stalked the warm, brackish waters.
Wait, isn't Sarcosuchus supposed to be dead by now? It went extinct 112 million years ago, over 10 million years before Spinosaurus even appeared.
This thing could have preyed upon just about anything it wanted to, probably including dinosaurs.
But one alpha predator ruled them all: Spinosaurus.
Oh my God! What is the noise that the Spino is making? Goodness gracious! Disemboweling a Sarcosuchus with ease. Did the creators totally forget that the Sarcosuchus had armor, or did they just go, screw it? I'm gonna make the Spinosaurus pierce through every single armor that the Sarcosuchus has, just because the Spinosaurus has to be the best predator of North Africa.
What gave him his killing edge? lucky. We have resurected a monster.
I'm not sure if this video is going to get demonetized
from this huge killer.
The Spinosaur! What are you doing? You're making it extremely uncomfortable for a viewer to watch. I have to censor it.
Spinosaurus was the world's biggest meat-eating dinosaur. Yet it has become a postscript in dinosaur history. The most complete fossil of Spinosaurus was obliterated by bombs in World War II.
Oh, you're reusing clips now of a Rugops, which is 30 feet long, by the way. The documentary claims the Rugops is 30 feet long. Getting absolutely destroyed by the Spino over and over and over. Poor Rugops, I really feel the pain of these guys.
The most complete fossil of Spinosaurus was obliterated by bombs in World War II. And without the fossils to ensure its immortality, Spinosaurus has turned into the most amazing dinosaur you have never heard of.
I'm sure that everyone has heard of Spinosaurus because of Jurassic Park 3. These guys must have been living under a rock.
But scientists have continued to try to uncover more about this massive creature and its weaponry.
Paleontologists have to rely on a number of different lines of evidence to try to reconstruct any fossil creature. We can look at its closest living relatives, things like birds and crocodiles, and see what traits they have. And it's by these ideas, and by some speculation, that we can resurrect an extinct animal.
Spino, however, was unlike any dinosaur ever found. It seemed doomed to remain a mystery. Amazingly, the missing link to this remarkable creature was found not in Africa, but more than 2,000 miles away in the English countryside. In 1983, near the town of Dorking, an amateur fossil hunter named William Walker discovered a huge claw from a predatory dinosaur, which was dubbed Baryonyx.
Baryonyx appeared to be a very singular dinosaur with a very long snout packed with dozens of teeth. Very peculiar anatomy overall, with very robust forelimbs that carried a very large, powerful claw on the thumb.
That giant thumb claw is a distinctive weapon, and it had been seen in another dinosaur.
Some astute paleontologists recognize some intriguing similarities between this new English dinosaur and Spinosaurus.
Paleontologists determined that Baryonyx was a close relative of Spinosaurus.
We can use information that we find about baryonyx, which are known almost completely, to allow us to sort of fill in the blanks about what we don't know about Spinosaurus.
Baryonyx is like a mini Spinosaurus, without the sail. Using its skeleton as a template, scientists were able to reconstruct Spino.
Baryonyx isn't as close to Spino as many may think. They could have just used the irritator, in which the Spino is closer to it than Baryonyx.
And when it was done, it proved to be an absolute monster. 60 feet in length, 7-foot forearms, 15-inch claws.
I mean, it's probably outdated information, but if it's not outdated and just wrong, then I have no words to say.
And 9 tons. Spino was nearly as long as this 18-wheeler and 6,000 pounds heavier. And it outweighed an...
Stop reusing those potentially inappropriate clips.
...outreached the legendary T-Rex and every other big predatory dinosaur. Size matters, but the weaponry matters even more. And rebuilding Spino's toolkit is the key to understanding what and how it killed. When paleontologists want to know how prehistoric predators do their dirty work, the teeth tell the tale.
Oh my god! Monsters resurrected! Leave the Rugops alone! They have already suffered enough pain. Stop reusing those clips to make the Rugops suffer even more.
Scientists study teeth the same way a detective looks at
Man, this is really brutal. And to think that Rugops is 30 feet just getting absolutely destroyed by the Spino.
a murder weapon. Length, shape, number, the way they point in the jaw, all give clues to how an animal kills. But for years, Spino's trail was cold. With no fossil teeth to examine,
I'm pretty sure they had fossil teeth to examine before.
there was no chance of figuring out the kill plan. Then science got a lucky break. In 1975, Spinosaurus fossil fragments were discovered in the Kemkem Desert in Morocco. And these fossils had teeth, the clues scientists needed. At the Museum of Natural History in Milan, Italy, a team of paleontologists led by Cristiano Dal Sasso examined these teeth. They discovered that their conical shape and spacing made them perfect for grabbing, puncturing, and gripping, not the smash, tear, and slice approach that characterized the business end of a T-Rex.
When we look at the skull of T-Rex, we see a skull that is really built for power and for delivering a tough bite. With Spinosaurus, what we see is in fact a much different arrangement. This skull is not arranged to really direct forces back into the skull, but rather the teeth are arranged much more for grabbing and holding.
T-Rex used its massive skull as a weapon to smash and rip through heavily armored prey. Spinosaurus was the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever to stalk the Earth. But most people have never heard of it.
Jurassic Park 3 again!
Now, our scientific team is resurrecting this monster to try to figure out how it lived, hunted, and killed.
Resurrecting a dinosaur like Spinosaurus is pretty difficult, especially when the first specimen was destroyed and we can't even use those original bones.
Recently discovered skull fragments reveal that Spino didn't bite like other big dinosaurs. Its teeth weren't designed to tear through armored skin, bone, and flesh like T-Rex.
They're cone-shaped teeth, 6, 8, 10 inches long, possibly longer, sticking out of tremendously powerful jaws. Really, really nasty weapons of destruction.
How did it shred its prey? The answer isn't in a museum. It's here, out in the Croc Lab. Biologist Ken Vliet says there are many similarities between Spinosaurus and modern crocs.
If you look at this skull as analogous to a Spinosaurus skull, we have a fairly low skull that's elongated with a slender snout and lined with these conical teeth. Crocodilians have the most powerful bite forces of any animals that have been measured.
I mean, in modern times, a crocodile has the most powerful bite force, but when you're talking about prehistoric creatures, give that title to the giant megalodon.
They have a tremendous crushing power in their jaws, but they don't have teeth that are meant to tear and separate prey items into bite-sized pieces.
So if your teeth don't cut it, how do you kill?
They can grab a hold of a prey item and go into the death roll. And just by the mass of their body, they can tear an item off of a prey animal.
Tearing an animal to bits in a death roll is brutal, yet effective. Spino was way too big to spin. But crocs have another terrible trick.
Crocodiles will often take a large prey animal, grab some portion of it, for instance a forelimb, lift it up out of the water and sling it one way and then forcibly throw it the other way. And the mass of the prey animal tears the limb away. They swallow that, they go find the body and do that again.
Crocodiles literally shake their prey to bits. And it looks like Spinosaurus used a similar technique.
As if brutally destroying Rugops wasn't enough for the creators, they had to slap in a clip where the Rugop's neck just gets snapped.
When Spinosaurus got its jaws onto its victim, it would pierce through the meat with those conical teeth. It would thrash its skull back and forth, yanking out chunks of meat, and as it's thrashing back and forth, that victim's neck could be broken. So between the meat being pulled out and the thrashing back and forth, that victim would not last very long.
3 times as long as the biggest living crocodile and 6 times as heavy, this dinosaur had monstrous power. And Spinosaurus had another advantage over crocs. For such a titan, it was faster than any of its typical prey. It needed to be. Spinosaurs lived in a hyper-competitive hunting ground, where even lumbering prey like Paralititans were surprisingly well-armed. They could use their tails like giant clubs.
At least the Paralititan isn't cannon fodder, so it's still better than Jurassic World Evolution 2 sauropod treatment, where the sauropods have no chance of fighting back against even a pack of raptors. So this is a thing that I could give Monsters Resurrected credit for, is that not all herbivores are cannon fodder.
A lash from the tail of one of these giants was like getting smashed with a telephone pole. So how does a 9-ton, 60-foot monster with a sail on its back manage to be both quick and maneuverable? The answer is in its feet.
This is an adaptation for speed and for forward locomotion. So if you look at the leg and the foot of a meat-eating dinosaur, it's all about moving forward.
To keep 9 tons of speeding Spino on track, the monster's hips and leg bones were engineered to withstand huge stress and torsion.
Didn't the Spino have relatively shorter hind limbs? I mean, those long legs on the Spino are outdated information, but come on.
They have this really strong bone box, essentially, that forms this big muscle attachment point. It's like the girders on a bridge. So then they can have these big leg muscles that come up and attach to this bone box, and then it creates a very efficient system.
Flexible feet, immense legs, and reinforced hips. Spino was a phenomenal running machine. If Spinosaurus was coming for you, you'd better learn how to hide.
If you ran in a straight line and it was chasing you, it would get you, unless you were an Olympian athlete, and then you've got a chance to book away from it faster than it could run. Unfortunately, we're at the right height for it to grasp, to snap out with those jaws. All dinosaurs were swift movers compared to a lot of modern creatures. It could catch any one of us.
Stop showing those clips of those poor Rugops being tortured.
A picture is emerging of a fast and furious killer. Quick enough to hunt down prey. Strong enough to shake it to bits.
The Spino
But
just...
this monster has more
just
terrible
end the
secrets that must
Crocodilanosaurus'
be
life with
explained.
one swing.
Each
You're
of its
trying to
arms,
portray
bigger
Spino
than a
as the
grown
apex
man,
predator, I
was
get
tipped
it,
with
but
3
come
massive
on!
meat hooks.
This
How
Crocodilanosaurus
did Spino
is
use
an
them?
embarrassment to
And
its
just how much
species.
damage
At least
could they
Jurassic
inflict?
Park 3
As
At
we
least Jurassic Park
scientifically
3's fight
resurrect this
lasted a
creature,
while, even
we
though
have
it's
re-examined its
inaccurate.
6-foot
Come on,
jaw.
just one hit and the crocodilian is out for the count. What kind of
But it had
abomination
another
is
formidable
this
weapon.
quote-unquote Spino?
Huge razor-sharp claws on muscular arms. Most carnivorous dinosaurs had pathetically small forelimbs. By comparison, Spino looks like a bodybuilder with giant claws.
Today's big land predators are things like polar bears and grizzly bears and Siberian tigers, and all of them have some pretty impressive claws. Claws that can make short work of a human being like...
Stop reusing those clips, damn it. How lazy could you get?
Most carnivorous dinosaurs had pathetically small forelimbs. By comparison, Spino looks like a bodybuilder with giant claws.
Today's big land predators are things like polar bears and grizzly bears and Siberian tigers, and all of them have some pretty impressive claws. Claws that can make short work of a human being like us. But those claws are pathetic against the gigantic talons of Spinosaurus.
Do these claws hold the key to understanding this creature's place at the top of the food chain? In a lab near Los Angeles, scientists and special effects experts have joined forces to perform a unique and innovative experiment. Paleontologist Dr. Matt LaManna and the special effects team, led by designer Kim Hicks, are attempting to bring Spinosaurus back to life.
This is a reconstruction of the arm of Spinosaurus based on the largest known Spinosaur individual.
Holy smokes, that came out of nowhere.
They are building a life-sized steel replica of a Spinosaurus forearm and claw. 7 feet of deadly power.
What we're going to do here today is slam this big schematic Spinosaurus hand into some modern day items and see what kind of damage it does. Maybe to get an idea of what the real thing might have done to animals that lived in its environment.
Scaling up from Spino's cousin, Baryonyx, LaManna has provided precise specs to the effects team to recreate the arm and claw.
The proportions of the arm look really good, because you guys have followed the references that I gave you really well.
We boosted it up to 7 feet per your concepts of what the actual scale was also.
A powerful air cannon will provide the muscle to propel the steel claw. The entire device is anchored to the concrete floor using 17 half-inch bolts. If this thing gets loose, it could kill someone.
Well, we have a 7-foot radius, so the tip is going to move a lot faster than the actual thrust of the armature, and we've got about a 12-inch thrust on the armature.
Approximating the force of the real animal is tricky. But if LaManna's calculations are right, the size is dead on.
The other real danger is the unexpected return of the hand. When you're not looking, it's kind of like a boom on a sailboat. If you're looking the wrong way and it comes back across the ship, it'll knock you out.
Yeah.
The first victims, 2 large pieces of ballistic gel. The dense gel simulates the skin and muscle layer of a dinosaur.
Look at the size of the wounds.
To be fair, this building montage part is okay. It's fine for me to watch instead of those Spino destroying other dinosaurs and Sarcosuchus montage.
Spinosaurus's smackdown power. The claws easily rip into flesh, but could they have slashed through the armored skin of prehistoric prey? It's time to really test Spino's power against steel.
If animals are made of steel, then, I don't know. Could the Spino pierce through steel? Probably not.
Bring in the car door.
Don't get me wrong, this is pretty epic.
Our mechanical claw hits the door with 4,500 pounds of force. Talk about monster garage.
Now, obviously, this is an animal that's going to keep attacking with these big giant arms and the tip with these huge claws. I mean, we've seen today like what a model of this thing's forelimb could have done. It's just really humbling to imagine what the real thing might have been like.
And imagine what it would do to a human being.
No animal would want to be on the receiving end of that mighty hook.
But there's still one big mystery to explain. What did that spine that gave this saurus its name actually do? It may have looked like something from a Japanese monster movie, but Spinosaurus was no fictional creation. This real-life Godzilla once ruled the Earth.
I mean, you're not wrong. Because the Spinosaurus is portrayed as a literal kaiju.
Unfortunately, we know very little about this awesome animal. It's the ultimate cold case.
The loss of the original Spinosaurus fossil was a great tragedy for science. And so, for many decades, we've missed what it is that makes Spinosaurus so interesting because we couldn't look at its bones.
Piecing together the few fossil fragments that do exist, we've been able to build up a picture of Spinosaurus and bring this monster back to life. But there is something missing from our resurrection of Spinosaurus. And that is the purpose for that spiny sail.
Forgot to mention earlier, but it had more of a hump-like shape than a sail-like shape. You know, that spine.
Often paleontologists can find direct comparisons between the features of living animals and prehistoric creatures, but not here.
Since nothing in the world today has a sail like Spinosaurus, paleontologists are forced to speculate on the possible functions of this structure.
What was the purpose of Spino's sail? The answer could lie in the brutal climate.
Why does it show dinosaurs living in the Jurassic? Stegosaurus, Camarasaurus, those are late Jurassic dinosaurs.
This is a time when the world was very, very hot, hotter than it is today. And so if a creature is vigorous, if a creature is moving around a lot, it's going to have a cooling issue.
A prehistoric predator like Spinosaurus was constantly on the move. Nature has provided a way for some animals to cool off. For instance, elephants flap their ears to help shed heat. Spino's sail may have had a similar role in that superheated climate.
A structure like a sail gives a huge surface area without much addition of volume. It can remove heat.
We're still not sure what the Spino's spine was used for.
Hot blood flowing through the skin covering the vertebrae releases heat before it returns to the body. Another theory is that instead of being a device to keep cool, the sail was a way for males to look cool.
I mean, that is a hypothesis, but we still don't truly know.
It's quite common in animals for males to sport extravagant horns. or elaborate plumage to attract females. Spino's sail could have been the equivalent of a peacock's tail.
It could show off against maybe other Spinosaurs, maybe in tests of showing off which is the better Spinosaurus, which is the dominant one, which one gets all the girls or whatever it is.
But with only one skeleton ever discovered, it's impossible to know if the sail was found only on male Spinos. But now, there's a radical new theory about the purpose of the sail from Italian scientists studying the only existing fossilized vertebrae: fishing. That's right. Many paleontologists believe Spinosaurus was not only the world's biggest fisherman, it used the biggest lure.
Finally, it mentions the Spinosaurus preying on fish. Took you long enough.
Some fish-eating birds, like herons, use their wings to create shadows while standing in the water. Fish are attracted to these dark areas, and when they swim near, the birds grab them with their beaks. Did Spino use its fin the same way and then use its teeth and claws to nail the kill? In an attempt to answer this question, Cristiano Dal Sasso and his colleagues examined the Spino jaw fossil. They discovered an intriguing feature. The snout is covered with a number of enlarged pits. These pits have been found only in the Spino family. So what purpose did they serve? Once again, the answer may lie with the modern crocodile.
It's been discovered in recent years that
The giant claws that Spinosaurus could use to disembowel its victims would serve just as well as a pair of monstrous hooks. Remarkably, the largest ever land predator,
Spinosaurus is probably the longest predator, but not the largest. A dinosaur's size is determined in mass.
was also a formidable water predator. Spinosaurus was adaptable and apparently invincible.
When it just gets pummeled by the T-Rex on land. And I am not a T-Rex fan, okay?
A gigantic multi-purpose killing machine from which nothing on land or in water was safe. Another day, another battle for supremacy.
Dinosaurs don't battle on a daily basis, I think. They are just regular animals trying to live their lives, not bloodthirsty monsters you claim they are.
And Spinosaurus was top alpha dog. It was the biggest land predator the world has ever seen.
It's the longest, but not the largest. The largest belongs to the T-Rex.
So big, even a rival giant predator like Carcharodontosaurus would have been no match for its power.
They don't fight each other, okay? Even if they do, they would just retreat to safety after a while. They don't battle to the death.
Spinosaurus, given its huge size, probably could have muscled away a Carcharodontosaurus from its kill.
We've seen that Spinosaurus was the perfect killer, with jaws, claws, teeth, and speed that easily dominated the Cretaceous landscape.
There is so much wrong in this statement, I can't process them all.
But about 95 million years ago, within the blink of an eye in geological time, this monster disappears. Why?
Spinosaurus was the last of its kind. It was really good at what it did, but the problem is the world changed around it. and Spinosaurus and its lineage didn't adapt.
A chain of earth-shaking events caused temperatures to plummet. The sea receded. Spino's lush habitat changed for the worse.
Sea level dropped and the habitat of Spinosaurus was degraded. Essentially, the niche of an organism is an economy, and that economy can run just great for 1,000,000 years, and then something can get out of balance, and there goes that organism.
First to die off are the big plant eaters, like Paralititan. And this makes finding food difficult for Spino. And when you're this big, you need to eat all the time. Spinosaurus's own massive size is becoming more of a problem than an asset. It was only equipped to kill increasingly scarce big prey.
Wasn't the Spinosaurus' purpose hunting fish and other aquatic prey like squally corax?
Smaller predators like rugops could handle the change. Spinosaurus was forced to scavenge, and its size was no help against a pack of small, agile predators.
Finally, the rugops are going to get their revenge.
The once invincible Spinosaurus that ruled a world of giants is fighting for its life. And Spinosaurus had one major design flaw.
Those spines are fused.
Okay, thank God this abomination of a Spinosaur is gone. But at the same time, when the Spino breaks its spines, it does not die immediately. It doesn't really make sense.
The vertebra. So Spinosaurus, if it rolls over, it breaks its back and dies.
Well, at least the rugops can finally have a break. Anyway, now that this abomination of a Spinosaur is gone, let me share my thoughts. I know it's not the entire documentary, but man, this Spino is probably the worst depiction of a Spinosaur that I've ever seen. Not even the Jurassic Park franchise or Jurassic World Live, those games, not even those could compete. It baffles me how Discovery Channel approved this monstrosity of a Spinosaurus for a documentary episode. Anyway, I have nothing else to comment. It's just not good at all. I'm pretty tired of all of these Spinosaur monster shenanigans. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.